Did you know that caffeine is the fourth most used drug across the world? While marijuana leads in third, it is still surprised that sugar can be such a drug. A universal substance that gives the world a boost whether it's early morning or late at night. But caffeine provides support to all ranging from college students, gamers, and police. People remain to get their satisfaction from sugar as it keeps them awake. I myself often drink Mountain Dew, which has lots of caffeine, only because it helps you with work. But over time working in a warehouse, I've become more aware of how much energy people need throughout the day. In addition to how many people use energy drinks, coffee, and soda as a way to obtain this energy. But today, I will inform you of the shocking risks one takes when drinking beverages with caffeine, as well as how to prevent this habit. Now that you're aware of the overview, let's begin discussing the main point, which is how much sugar is too much sugar. A person digests around 70 grams of sugar within a day, which is ironically the same amount of sugar that is inside a bottle of Mountain Dew. Now let's compare the preferred amount of sugar from the sexes. Women generally have 25 grams of sugar and men generally have 36 grams. An example of this would be brisk tea for women, energy drinks for men. But do not be fooled by the food labels just because it reads as diet. Doesn't really mean that it's healthy. When digesting anything with a lot of sugar, it all comes at once in your body and puts you at risk for heart disease and diabetes. So now that you're aware of the effect of caffeine, let's move on to the signs that are too much sugar. The ones that you may already know are most likely breakouts, no sleep, cavities, and blood pressure. However, here are the not so obvious ones, such as loss of flavor, bloating, brain fog, and joint pain. Now, this list may sound really intimidating, but just watch what enters into your body and there should be no problems. From a professional standpoint, it is safe to always take time to read the nutrition label on a product and know what is going into your body. If you find that you have swallowed too much sugar, you can start by flushing out with water as the glucose will exit the bloodstream. Try to get at least 8 glasses of water per day for a balance. Now that I have reviewed the importance of tracking down how much sugar you consume, I can discuss just what makes it addictive. It is almost impossible to try to avoid sugar because it's everywhere. Sugar on a food label can be read as starch, glucose, dextrose, lactose, maltose, and sucrose. But when you take a sip of your morning coffee, signals are already heading towards your parts of the brain, and one of them is the cerebral cortex, which is the type of taste, which gives off a nice feeling and will want you to want more. Dopamine is a transmitter that is commonly found in the forebrain that sends off a release of waves showing that food is liked among the brain. When caffeine enters the brain, the dopamine levels are sensing on high, which is why things like pop and candy are so addictive. This is how caffeine is like a drug because it puts your body into overdrive. But when it comes into foods like carrots, the levels aren't as high, but they still give signals. But if one does not consume that much sugar, the levels would not skyrocket, but they'd still rank. We cannot ignore what leads us to drink caffeinated beverages, but how they make it into your body with the aid of marketing. When researching the main audience for the drink Mountain Dew, theirs are mainly teenage men, and for Diet Pepsi, it's mainly middle-aged women. Each target is drastically different from the other, in the psychological sense resolving around fun or envy. Companies that sell soda and other sugary drinks have their own tactics to get it to sell. The image in the product is important because it catches the audience's attention, usually a picture of a visual of something fun, so a beach, a sport, and a dance. For a diet drink, the appeal is health, so the image will show someone who was slim or energized to grab more customers. The narrative displays that the product is very important because it has something to do with the consumer that can place themselves within the image. For example, Mountain Dew targets young men who seem to have fun, so they can easily be someone who loves to play video games. But something that is not really astonishing or relatable enough to excite him to change its identity. The psychology of marketing for caffeinated beverages is pivotal to the success of the product. In order to maintain an attractive product for consumers, it is most perfectly blended with packaging. The reason it is so, it communicates a message to the consumer so that the product can have a meaning. Social media platforms for brands also perfectly identify with the brand because they interact with consumers through advertisements and lead to capturing their interests. In a nutshell, caffeine is everywhere and is difficult to avoid, so let's review what we have learned. Today, I have discussed the popularity of caffeine and how it can build into an addiction. In review, one should know that 22 grams of caffeine should be consumed per day. Always check the labels for information on the amount of caffeine within the product. Go over in your head if you had too many symptoms or if you have too much sugar, and be sure to drink lots of water. Remember that the reason that drinks taste so good is because all that dopamine is released from your brain. I expect you to learn from these shocking risks from drinking beverages with caffeine, as well as to prohibit this. In conclusion, keep in mind that companies know how to get you hooked with visuals that has everything for a purpose. Well-designed marketing strategies are a part of the reason people struggle with caffeine addictions, in addition to the extra amounts of caffeine added to drinks and food, so be mindful of what's entering your body. Make sure that you drink plenty of water throughout the day and stay healthy.